Astronomers in Spain believe that hiding behind Pluto, obscured from our view, are two additional giant planets. Spanish scientists in Madrid discovered the potential for the two massive celestial bodies at the outer reaches of our solar system after studying strange patterns in the orbit of rocky objects around Pluto, including the newly discovered dwarf planet 2012 VP 113. Scientists believe the first hidden world would be about 10 times the mass of Earth. They believe that this planet is moving in resonance with a bigger planet that is somewhere between Mars and Jupiter in size and would orbit 200 times the Earth's distance from the Sun. But can we ever conclusively confirm the existence of these two planets? Well, Scott Shepard at the Carnegie Institution for Science had this to say. As there are only a few of these extremely distant objects known, it's hard to say anything definitive about the number or location of any distant planets. However, in the near future, we should have more objects to work with to help us determine the structure of the outer solar system.
The hail that fell in north-central Texas was immense. But the hailstorm that struck in northern Alabama on March 19th was so terrifying that it virtually destroyed everything in its path. Hail the size of softballs crashed down on cars and buildings, smashed through windows and roofs, and caused ceilings to collapse. The following video compilation shows the intensity of the storm as giant hailstones fell from the sky in the city of Cullman and not far away in Madison County, Alabama. This video compilation shows a time-lapse of the supercell that moved into the region, followed by the immense hailstorm that produced baseball-size hail.
And that's what we're setting out to do at NASA, Northrop Grumman Corporation, and other places around the country. So this is showing you the glare of how bright a star would be. And ideally, we'd like a way to go to space, and it's what we call direct imaging. We want to, A, get above the blurring effects of Earth's atmosphere, and B, block out that starlight so we could see a planet directly. I'm just actually going to back up and show you that one more time. Our goal is somehow we need to block out that starlight. Now this shows you we can block out the light, and then hopefully we'll be able to see other planets. And I just want you to see that we have this star shade, and the goal would be actually to block out the starlight so we can see the planet directly. And I hope you will all admire this for a moment. It's actually was really used in the desert for testing of a concept we call the star shade. So what the star shade is, its goal is to block out the starlight so that only the planet light will enter the telescope. But I hope you're all wondering why this is such a very special shape. And actually, the reason has to do with diffracted light. And this is my only professorial slide here, but I want you to be able to walk away with something that I think you'll find interesting. And that is, if we were to imagine putting up a big circular screen in space or a big square, and to block out a point source, a star, right behind that screen, we would get what you see on the top right. I think you can see rings. We wouldn't see a point source, the star in the image. We would actually see these rings. They're called Airy rings. And what it is the starlight is diffracting around, would be diffracting around the edge of the screen. It's the same as if we used a circular telescope. It's actually just because the waves are bending around the edge and interfering. We give an analogy, it would be like dropping a pebble in a pond. And you see ripples, those water waves. So how can we handle this when the first of those light waves is 100,000 times brighter than the planet we're looking for? Well, the answer is to have a very specially shaped screen. And you can see in the bottom left there a kind of a star-shaped. And the equivalent image you would get with that screen and a point source star is the one on the bottom right. And in this case, the analogy is like dropping a pebble in a pond. When all of a sudden, all around the pebble, it would be so perfectly smooth to 1 part in 10 billion. And all the waves would be pushed away at the very outer edges, going crazy. And that's the basic concept, a special shape to handle diffracted light so that it works to your advantage. So here's the concept of the star shade. A telescope and star shade could launch together with the petals unfurling from a stowed position and a central truss expanding and snapping the petals into place. In fact, that truss has heritage from large radio deployables. These petals have to be manufactured to hundreds of microns, and the star shade itself is tens of meters in diameter and would have to fly tens of thousands of kilometers from the Space Telescope. Right now, NASA is sponsoring a detailed study, and the team members of a team that I chair, they're all out working very hard now to put the exact details together mechanically, thermally, and the heritage story of the star shade. So we're making a lot of progress here. And there are other ways.
You can't hide it anymore, people. Even with the chemtrailing, there it is. Directly behind the sun to the left. They've been chemtrailing to hide this thing. It's got to come out. It's going to come out. I'm taking it to the newspaper.
Okay guys, it's October 20th. My camera is set to solarize. And 2 dots are the reflection from the camera. The sun, obviously. And then there's that dot right there that doesn't move. Here you go, I'll prove it.
working with a professional here!
You have to have a really keen eye and watch this on time lapse and go back and review the video. Okay, don't expect you to watch it right away. Okay, there's your planet again, right here. Okay, so just as the sun's setting, you can see it again. This is the very next day. So, and then you can see the chemtrailing, and then we're even getting this bizarre lens flare looking thing, but it's not. Remember, it's not the lens flare from this camera. It's more of a focal point from the deep space lens at about the atmosphere of a low orbiting satellite. They have many of these places. They're all on the horizon. But wait, it gets a little stranger than this. You can even look at this weird glare here, okay? Again, I keep also wanting to note that this thing strangely disappears. Okay, so if it's not in the camera, why is this flare hiding behind a cloud and then go into a full circle and then even disappear?
Asteroid flying towards Earth. Detected by a Russian robotic telescope, it's one of the largest and most dangerous space rocks approaching our planet's orbit. RT's Murad Gaziev looks at the threat from the void.
Humanity's last experience with a large asteroid was painful. Almost 2 years ago, the Chelyabinsk meteor, traveling at 19 kilometers a second, exploded in the skies above Russia. The blast was dozens of times more powerful than an atomic bomb. But that meteor was only 20 or so meters in diameter, weighing about as much as the Eiffel Tower. This new asteroid is an entirely different story. It's 20 times bigger, the size of a village, weighing millions of times more. If this asteroid, for now called 2014 UR116, flew into our atmosphere, it wouldn't just burn up in the air and shatter windows. This would hit the planet's surface, potentially killing millions. But calm for now. It's not yet on a collision course with Earth. The danger is, as it passes near planets and the sun, gravity could alter its path. In fact, the Russian Space Agency, which detected UR116, has satellites watching just for such objects. And it's not only Russia. An American observatory a decade ago detected another similar asteroid. There was a big scare about that, if you remember. Apophis was named after the Egyptian god of evil, and asteroids that size hit Earth on average once in 80,000 years. NASA gave it a very real chance of impacting our planet. The danger from asteroids is very real, and astronomers are increasingly keeping an eye out and thinking about what to do if they confirm a collision course, though don't expect anything quite as dramatic as Bruce Willis leading his team of misfits.
I'm sorry. I'm so busy covering the incredible hardcore news that I haven't even gotten into the 9th planet that was discovered that they announced last week. And of course, they discovered it a long time ago. They just got around to telling us. And there's a reason they didn't get around to telling us about it. I am someone who always got sick and tired of hearing about planetX. Because as long as I've been on the air, people are saying it's coming next year, it's coming in 3 orbit that doesn't go in circles around the sun, but goes way out past the Kuiper belt and comes in basically at an elliptical. And then I started reading deeper into this planet, and there it was, a 20,000-year deformed orbit going out into deep space, 10 times the size of the Earth. It is planetX, folks.
and it's got nothing to do with too many smokestacks or not because cows are passing gas. It's none of that goofy stuff they introduced telling us about climate this and climate that. There's no question that it's changing, but the point is it's being affected by an external planetary intruder, planetX or Nibiru or whatever, and we will not in our lifetime or your children's lifetime ever see the weather get back to what we would call normal cycle of seasons. It's not going to happen. It's going to be mixed up for the rest of 3 generations, at least, if not worse. 2 years ago, I said, the next 2 years, which is the last 2 we've just passed through, all right, I said, there will be huge effects on the planetary, on our planetary system. The planets will be starting to be closer. It is functioning a little bit like a bowling ball going into a bunch of pins way out in the outer space, but it's punching its way through what normally is a settled environment in our planetary structure. And as it punches through, it will be moving things in front of it and behind it and around it, so it will start causing effects.
There is increasing consensus that the power grids of the world are breaking down, due in large part to a weakening magnetosphere and plasma electrification. The government explanation for the destabilized grids and satellite disruptions is directed towards hackers and planned exercises, thus keeping the media from identifying the actual cause, which falls squarely on abnormal solar activity, leading to a collapsing magnetosphere and a weakened magnetic field. During a recent geomagnetic storm, a never-before-witnessed auroral display was photographed. This was a plasma filament. When mentioning plasma filament, it goes straight to the legends of dragons in the sky and gods in the heavens. If you cross 2 of these streams, then incredibly a dragon would appear, as shown in this amazing charged sky. The real reason for increasing power outages is the breakdown of our protective shield, and from this point forward, it will intensify as we witness more power outages as the magnetic shield continues to collapse.
And we'll let everyone kind of watch it as we go through this. And I'd just like to get kind of your, from you have a disciplined mind. Mathematics is about discipline.
Thank you.
So this is from UFO at section 51. What are we seeing here?
Well, first of all, we're not seeing something that is supposed to be there. This object, as you can see, looks almost stationary with respect to the sun. And it wasn't connected to the sun initially. The connection then formed. So this is not something that belongs with the sun. It was separate first. So it's an outside body, but it seemed to be covered in plasma already. So that's what these stellar cores, what I usually call them, do. They come to the sun's corona, they make these connections, they cover themselves in plasma. You can see this one's already covered in plasma because you can see the red color. And it almost looks like a fluid consistency covering the object.
So right here, you can actually see that there's a flap opening up and drawing direct plasma from.
Yes.
Now, is that coming from the coronosphere?
Yes. The thing is, this looks like it's just coming from the corona, but I've established that.
And here's another one, by the way, folks. This is on the other side of the sun.
This plasma actually comes from the chromosphere. That's where they pull plasma from. And nowadays you can actually see that they sometimes leave a blemish on the sun because the material in the chromosphere does not seem to be, it seems to be a semi-solid kind of consistency material. The sun is very different from what we have always been told it is. It has a liquid layer. It has a semi-solid layer below that.
Well, the fact that they're immersed right in the coronosphere, Claudia, is what gets me. I mean, if this is in fact an intelligent machine, or like you said, I'm beginning to see now that a stellar core would be more apt, because if this is machine made, I don't know what type of technology would exist.
I never think of these objects as actually devices. To me, it's a natural object that's obeying laws. The laws are different from what we've been told that the universe is supposed. Well, we told it's all driven by gravity. Obviously, this is not gravity driven.
Obviously, no.
A gravity driven object will go into a fast orbit around the sun.